So we're just gonna get right into it. Let me introduce our first panel, and I'm just gonna ask all three panel members to come up, and then we'll introduce the segment and get going with it. So our panel member is gonna be talking about leveraging AI to optimize critical decisions in service and warranty. So we have three panel members. We have Ashok Kartham, CEO of Circuitry.ai. We have Rajiv Bora, Vice President of Field Services for Exalt Energy Systems. And we got Craig Kukar, Chief Engineer, Engagement Officer for Mentor Systems. So let's welcome our panel. And we're going to start off, I think Ashok, I think you have a brief presentation. Here's your clicker. You can go from there, or you can go from...
Sure. Okay.
Make yourself at home.
Good afternoon, everyone. So far, we have been looking at warranty process as a flow diagram, as Mike mentioned, or as a data flow, starting with the dealers to OEMs to suppliers and back and forth to do it. And the digitization has improved how the data is captured, shared, sent to different stakeholders in this warranty process to do it. But the biggest impact on warranty is how people make decisions, starting with the technician, what repair they do, or how they decide what parts to use, as well as the decisions that are made in your quality. All of these have a bigger impact. So we think where AI can bring value is how do you improve these decisions. We do think today the poor warranty decisions result in inefficiencies, poor product quality, or a longer resolution times and things like that cost billions of dollars for your companies. So when we look at the decisions powered by AI, we think the same model or principles that are being used by autonomous driving can be used for autonomous decision making. So we look at three components. One is what we call a guided by knowledge, is if everyone that's working in this whole process, if they had all the knowledge of your products, all the knowledge of what happened in the past and things like that, you would expect them to make better decisions, right? It's like a GPS that provides advice to say, you know where you are going. Only in the context of that, you can provide the right information, right? The data behind the GPS is huge, but when we get a direction, it's what to do next in a way. Same way, the second aspect of it is, if we can predict what will happen if I make the decision, obviously we will all make better decisions. But so far, warranty is like driving in the rear view, seeing in the rear view mirror. So how do you can see ahead, foresee using the predictable outcomes, so you could drive better and lead to better outcomes to do it. And the final thing is automation. Even though the data capture and processing is automated, still the decisions take time, and there are a number of people that are involved to do this. So to do that, we have those AI advisors, analysts, and agents. Obviously, for AI, they need a good models, because one AI cannot do all the decisions. We look at AI as a generic concept. In general, they are only good at doing certain functions. So we have different decision models for different warranty or service decisions to do it, and all of them depend on the data. That data could be for knowledge. It could be all the knowledge that exists, parts catalog, service manuals, diagnostic manuals, and things like that. For doing the predictive, it could be all the things that happened in the past that can help us to predict parts and those aspects of to do it. And then for automation, in the future, it could take the real-time data through IoT, help you automate certain things that are involved. And again, if you look at all of it, don't look at AI as replacing your existing warranty systems. Our main focus, we see it as an augmenting it. So you may have that process flow at the bottom. On the top is where you are able to get this when you need help, what to do next. Advisor can provide it. If you need all the data, historic data, everything analyzed to get you some predictions, the analysts can do it. And then if you need to automate certain multi-step process, agents can take care of it. So you can look at it as an augmentation to your existing system to do this. And then, so this is kind of a comparison to look at it. Again, if we look at the ways to do it is, it's like if you're trying to enhance a current system, it's like thinking is enhanced cruise control can be autonomous driving. Obviously, our perspective is you do need some new capabilities, and the benefits are in stuff changes being done by programmers. AI can learn from data in stuff like a user interface being forms that people have to fill in. It could be conversational, it could be voice-based, it could be vision-based that AI can understand. So there are a lot of different technology stack capabilities that you can gain with the AI that you don't have with the current transactional system to do it. So again, our model is what we call it as enterprise AI services. Package those three things, your data that we are training, our decision intelligence models, and then what we call decision circuits are like applications. It's like one circuit doing one app really well. Those three packaged together, they are leveraging obviously all the latest AI technologies at the bottom and integrate with any of your systems. Whether it's SaaS systems you have, legacy systems that you have to do it. So at the end, you need to be able to improve the warranty outcomes. And then there are three key things we talk about as improvement. Productivity. If all the people can have the instant information, do all of this, we think productivity can be boosted by about 30 to 35%. We have seen that. Similarly, the warranty outcomes, whether it's cost reduction, detection to correction cycle time, that can be reduced by about 20% or so to do it. And the operational efficiencies are other people that are involved in supporting you. Training costs could go down, right? How much of the technical services that you are providing to do it. Again, to prove that, we have a actually proof of value program. Please request a demo or actually ask us to have a proof of value where we provide you 30 days, train on your data, show you the value of one or two of these, what we call warranty aids. They are assistants, bots. We didn't want to use those terms. We just call it as a warranty aids to do it. So hopefully we'll have a very good discussion with Rajiv and Craig here, and I look forward to continuing our conversations. Mike?
Thank you, Craig, you want to introduce your company quickly?
Mentor Systems, so we deal primarily in operational execution. We spend a lot of time in the tier 1 supply base with plants that are struggling, go in, drive either improvement, quality improvement, productivity improvement, training, and just overall strategy around technologies moving forward. We do have an arm that we have AI, but we're a little different than what these guys are doing on warranty. We are actually bots that are for quality engineers, junior quality engineers, et cetera, that can come in and do a quick, need to do a quick 8D problem solving. We can take an 8D, throw it into our system. It'll do an analysis and spit out a number, and then feed that back to the supplier to say, hey, you guys really didn't think this one through. Here are 3 things that we want you to look at. So we're a little different, but I can see us starting to do some more conversation here.
Absolutely.
Because I see a lot of synergies between the two companies.
Okay, and Rajiv, you want to talk about your company?
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rajiv Bora. I look after the field service for a battery manufacturer company here in Midland, Michigan. We manufacture large format battery for trucks and buses and cruise ships. We call it expand range of battery. Just to highlight the point, we have about 80,000 battery packs out here in US and Canada running the city buses. And as you know, like there is something called battery management system in every battery pack, right? So we can get those data, how the battery is behaving, what is happening. But imagine like keeping track of these 80,000 battery packs and trying to do it manually something. We are doing till now manually, but thanks for guys like this and this gentleman, hopefully we are transitioning to a AI-based system where we can exactly know the health of each and every battery pack and how we are going to deal with it going forward.
Okay.
And I'm also very excited to announce that we are releasing a new, very large format battery pack called X-Range, which will be in the market by the end of this year. And you will be seeing those packs in the transit buses very soon, as early as early next year.
All right, fantastic. So this is our panel to talk about AI. So what we want to explore is how AI can revolutionize critical decision-making across the vehicle service and warranty lifecycle. Session is going to dive into practical applications, repair procedures, parts replacement, claim adjudication, handling recalls and returns. And right before lunch, I kind of said, hey, we got the whole life cycle here. And so with that as a backdrop, I'm going to ask a lot of questions. If any of you have a question, we'd be glad to take those at any time. But just to kick things off, hey, within the service warranty, service management, life cycle, the whole claim life cycle, diagnostic repair, where do you see the target-rich environment for AI, where AI can make the biggest impact? Ashok, what do you think?
Sure. Mike, I also want to go back to another question you had related to this. You were previously asking, what if I took a picture, upload it?
Oh, please, let's just do this. Let's make that happen. I'll work with you on that. We'll launch it next year. We're going to be rich.
See, we make deals here sometimes at the conferences.
Let's knock off and go to refreshments right now.
Sure. So that question had is, if you upload the picture, is that enough for a claim? Along with that, some other data, let's say telematics data and other things. But the key is, so far what we have done, as I said, is how to capture a picture because of the mobile. You know how to upload it because we have SaaS systems to do it. Then you don't know what to do. That's where AI comes in. The way we look at it is, if you take that picture or some information from it, AI can determine, is this eligible under warranty? That's an AI decision that can do.
Okay.
Second thing is, it can predict, for similar type of a failure, what were the parts and the labor used previously. It can use that prediction to say, I can pre-approve these parts and labor because in the past when this happened, these are the ones that are there to do it. And then when technician is performing, it can provide the right instructions to say, hey, here are the diagnostic procedures, repair procedures for it. These are the parts you need to use. So they can do it the right first time to do it. Then claim is auto-generated from the work order because it's already pre-approved. You use the right parts to do it. Then it can hopefully auto-approved, not only auto-generated, within governance to do it. So now you went through the warranty process and saving hours to do it. Then as this data is being captured, AI can help you to say, we have the repair profile. Can I help you to say which issues you need to be addressing it? So if you take AI, each of these steps where you are making these high-impact decisions and repetitive decisions, AI can learn and help you reduce the manual work involved and improve the quality, consistency, and speed of the decisions in a way.
Okay, thank you. So when do we start building?
We already did.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
I agree
Greg?
with you,
Sure.
okay? But I also think the thing that we're still missing with AI is how do we integrate our manufacturing processes so when we're collecting that warranty data, that's being fed back into manufacturing, and we're actually solving problems rather than just dealing with the same warranty.
Rather than just paying claims. We want to solve problems.
Over and over, right? Because that's
Improve
that's a small financial gain. But now if I take that data and I'm looking at machine parameters and I can automatically be adjusting machine parameters based on some historical data, right, from a warranty, that's where the larger value to me really becomes. That's your massive cost save, right? And especially at an OEM level.
Okay. Rajiv, what do you think is the target-rich environment for AI?
For me, it's all about proactive. I don't want to get a call from the customer.
Okay.
The customer is, whoever is using my battery packs, I need to be able to monitor the health of the battery pack. If there is any issue, my AI should be talking to the customer rather than customer talking to me.
Okay.
And of course, we are building up a total robotic line right now to manufacture our new X-Range product. I think your idea is very good, to give the feedback to the robot so that we can reprogram the robots and fix the manufacturing defects, right?
And I think that but again, when I'm looking at that, I agree, but I think the bigger one is preventative maintenance, right? The predictive maintenance side of the business is massive within our industry.
Right, that is why I want the AI agent to keep a track of these 85,000 battery packs because I cannot do it.
Yeah.
Or Gaurav cannot do that by manually. We need a machine.
Okay, so earlier in the conference, somebody made a comment that, you know, if you have coffee in front of you, we could play a drinking game that every time AI is mentioned, you take a drink, and you'll be highly, highly caffeinated by the time the conference is over. So I gotta be honest, when it comes to AI, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. To be honest, I have no idea what it is, okay? So explain to me how AI differs from things like, from other buzzwords of business rules, business intelligence, machine learning, and all that other stuff that we as business people have been promised year after year after year. How is AI different? What does it do different?
Sure. First thing is, all the items you mentioned, whether it's business rules, business intelligence, you are relying on your IT to code and program ahead of time. And then if you need to change it, you need to go back to them, wait in the backlog to get all of this done. One thing that AI does differently is it's learning from the data. So as the data is improved or changed, it's also continuously learning, so without having to program it. Actually, that's the definition of AI is, can it do something without explicitly being programmed to do so, right? That itself provides you a benefit.
I like it, but you're losing me.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry. No. Thank you for saying that too, Mike. You can tell me that. It's like saying, again, let's take the car as an example, right? We all experience AI if we are in an autonomous car. The difference between AI and the previous generation, just like I would compare our systems to, like, say, the previous cars where you have to manually drive it. Now, AI is able to make the decisions on what turns to take, right? And it didn't get programmed, oh, at this location, at this GPS location, you need to go this way. It's realizing the data, recognizing what's ahead, and be able to take those decisions to do it. So for AI to do is, at a point, given the input, can it come up with an outcome that's optimized for it based on the previous data you provided to it, so it can make those decisions, right? In my mind, that's the AI is. It's a function engine that can take the input and do output without you programming it.
Okay.
Right? Sorry.
Anybody want to add anything else? How would you explain AI?
Okay, from my personal experience, what I have seen, when my Tesla got updated with a new version of the software, full service drive, it says in the release note that it replaces 300,000 of so written codes with the data with the AI program model, right? So that is what Ashok is saying, right? Like, it is not a programming, it is based on the data, right? Based on the history.
All right. Craig, anything to add?
It's continual learning. It's like every day, read a book. Every time you use AI, it's just read another book, right? And it continues to do that, and it just sometimes changes direction based on the information it has, right? So it's continual learning, and that is what is so cool about it, because it's not taking human interaction. It's actually self-teaching, self-training with some parameter guidance. I'll say it that way.
Okay. Let's deep dive in a couple areas. So how can AI help with diagnostics and or enabling technicians, and what kind of ROI could you realize in doing that? Anybody want to take that one?
I mean,
Go ahead, please go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is actually one of the
We're going to need an AI app to determine who's going to answer the question.
Yeah. Actually, this is one of the main use cases. Number of our customers are seeing an immediate value. This is where I know you heard of the Gen AI, which again, very hyped up right now, ChatGPT and things like that. If you take all the knowledge that we talked about, most of the time, technicians are being trained. It takes 3 weeks or so to train it. They are provided a lot of manuals and things like that. And that's, again, you are training ahead of time. They cannot remember. Technology is changing. Products are changing. It's difficult to keep it up to date. AI can learn that. Right now, because of the Gen AI, it can understand all this content. And then when you have a question, when you have a diagnostic, it can provide the right answer. So previously, what was happening is you have to search. It will provide you search results. Technician probably has to click on multiple things, open up, and see where the answer is. So to get to the answer, it may take 15, 20 minutes to do it. Our goal is with the AI, I mean, again, I will use a different terms, is it can provide the answer, the end answer in 3 seconds or so, and provide reference material to do it if it's needed. So obviously, if we take a look at that, if that happens, and it's happening, and we can clearly demonstrate that, is think of the productivity of the technician. The decisions they have to make it if they have that kind of information available. And also, previously, you had to have systems, right? Now, because of this conversational mode, they can ask in any language a question. AI understands that, like if you have a diverse workforce, you don't have to create content in all the languages. You can create in English, it can provide the answers in that language. So there are a number of ways how you can enable the technicians to get the answers, the guidance, and the recommendations they need to make faster and better diagnostics and repair decisions.
Okay.
I want to add to that. So today, my technicians that's supporting this battery in the field spends about 11 hours a day like 4 or 5 hours overtime, and the problems are not resolved, all of them, and they again start next day morning. And the buses are like not operating. So I expect the AI to make that much more efficient. I think what they're doing in today, like 11, 12 hours, they can finish it 2, 3 hours, and they can take care of the other stuff.
Okay.
That is my expectation from AI.
Do you think they'll end up with a better result?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I think overall, from diagnostics, and it doesn't matter whether you're looking at a manufacturing operation, whether you're looking at a problem in the field or a quality-related issue. I can take a plant KPIs, all the KPIs from a plant, put it in our AI system, and come out with a full-blown improvement plan, right? That is one that I would look at and say, hey, I developed something like this 5 years ago for this plant, and it takes seconds. We can take an 8D, and in less than 5 minutes, I have a complete three-legged 5Y if I put in the symptoms to help do or some of the diagnostics. Whereas you sit in a room for hours sometimes doing a 5Y or an 8D with your engineering team and operations team doesn't agree with engineering, et cetera. It takes the personalization out of it, and it's facts and data, period. And it's just, it explodes through this. And sometimes you have to go back and ask a little different question. You have to ask a little deeper question. Hey, I don't agree with this line item number 3. Please revise. Let it go back in and rethink the strategy.
Okay. So my next question was, how can AI improve with the quality of a product? You started to dive into that. Anything else to add?
I think from if you look at DVMP, you start looking at APQP and stuff like that, there's a lot of opportunity. And I haven't seen anything on the market yet for APQP from an AI perspective. It doesn't mean there's not out there, but I think there's a lot of analytics that we can be utilizing with AI if we're starting to pull in those test results. And PPAP's another one, to actually just import a PPAP and go through it. Is this statistically accurate? What is my probability of defects down the road, et cetera, et cetera? I think it's an untapped market. It really is. Like, these are all components or segments of a bigger picture. And we are just starting to put these little companies together that will eventually create a whole platform that will revolutionize the industry.
So that's a great lead-in for the next question. So if someone wants to stick their toe in the AI water, what's the best way to start? And Ashok, in your presentation, you said we don't want to replace, we want to interject. Mm-hmm. So what's the best way to introduce an AI project? Or
Sure. I think
and a little bit is like the Wright brothers. You need a problem to solve. They wanted to fly.
Sure. I think I know actually Rajiv talked about one of the applications. We will be partnering with Rajiv on that. But in general, first thing, like any other thing too, which problem you are not able to solve today because of the diversity, vastness of data, and also the manual intensive efforts to do it, right? Like we talked about, some examples are, do you want to enable your technicians to make better decisions? That's one thing we have seen a lot of customers start with, because if we take within warranty, again, I will say is pre-claim, and the claim process and then the post-claim side. In the pre-claim side, enabling the people that are making the diagnostics and repair decisions, I think is a good start. And also it's a good start because there is a lot of content is already available. Then if we take the warranty process, claim adjudication, RMA and things like that, again, there is a lot of history. All of you have a huge amounts of claims data that you already approved, processed, and things like that. So that could be the next one on how to do it, is a value to do it. And then on the final one, more going back to what Craig said too, it's more reducing the cycle time for quality. Can it predict what are emerging issues? So that's what I say. Enable technicians to do a better job, automate claims as a second one, and then say is what decisions it can reduce the cycle time, and then keep building on that over time.
Okay. Greg?
I was at a conference not too long ago. It's actually an OEM put on a supplier conference, and we were presenting our AI tools. And it's a funny story because the quality engineers and the quality managers in that conference looked at what we were doing and said, man, this really could help us. This can help expedite problem solving, give us more accurate results, compress the time. The director, they looked at it, this is really cool. I can see how we can save cost. Okay, it can save cost, but I can roll this out across all my plants and I get the same answer. Then the VPs came in. And the first question I was asked, how many heads can I take out of my organization? So when we're looking at AI and you're asking where do we start, I would start with the lowest level possible in the organization to help automate what they're doing to make them more effective. We don't want to look at it as replacing heads. How do we drive effectivity so I get more done in a day, far more accurate, and I can use their brain and use their skill sets to do more value-added work.
Okay. Rajiv, anything?
Yeah, I mean, scaling it up, right? Today, we are manufacturing like 400 megawatt hour of battery packs, right? And by the end of this year, early next year, we are going for a 2 gigawatt factory, where we will be about 2.4 gigawatt hour. It's a 6 times scaling it up. Without the AI, I don't know how am I going to be able to do that.
That's good. So we have time for one question from the audience. I've been hogging all the time, asking all the questions. Steve?
Interested in how does AI account for change? If there's a change in the input requirement.
So that's a great question. How does AI account for change? Because you might have a couple 100,000 claims, but now you've changed something, and all that data is wrong.
3/8 spacer to a 1/2 spacer, or whatever the input change.
Oh, that's a great question.
I think, Steve, when AI finds something new, like say in this case, there is a new model, new part number or something like that, AI, instead of taking the decision, it may flag you to say, this is the one I cannot find enough information. So you may have to first few times to do manually. Then as you make a decision then manually to say, hey, this part is valid for this repair because of the new model introduction and all that, AI is learning. That's the benefit we talked about, right? So after a few turns, it can identify that part and not ask you to manually take the decision. One thing, like a similar thing we have seen is with the technicians too. Sometimes when they ask the question, if the answer is incorrect, we are immediately asking them to provide a feedback, or if it comes back with it to say thumbs up, thumbs down, feedback, things like that, and then provided an option called an expert answer. Whenever you find those things, an expert can provide it. Good thing there is you didn't have to go change any code. Next time similar question comes, it can answer it. So that's where I think actually AI power is. It can adapt to the changes more dynamically and faster. I'm not saying all changes, type of changes you talked about, a lot faster than trying to go through a programming change cycle, right? Like everybody compares to visits to dentist. I think all of you love coming to technology people for changes, so you can avoid that.
It's twofold though, because if it points to your database and you're making engineering change, and you take out the 1/2 spacer and put a 3/8, it automatically will read that. Okay, so it points to that database, to all of that knowledge that's stored in your engineering system. The other component, I'm not sure about how you guys are set up, but we have agents, okay, then we have experts, and then we also have a swarm in which we may have the supplier quality bot working with the quality engineer bot, with the plant manager bot. So that's a swarm. They're all coming together, analyzing the same problem, bringing different perspectives. So it's really unique and dynamic on how you can do these different components of AI. It's how you design your system.
Okay. All right. We have one last question, which I'm going to ask. Before I ask the question, I'm going to read something. You know, there's been a lot of interesting articles in automotive news over the last week about AI. They're kind of doing a series on it. Last Friday, Automotive News had an article. It says artificial intelligence will fundamentally change the world in ways that we can't fully imagine right now. It's a quote from Dave Richardson, Senior Vice President of Software and Services Engineering from GM. He said, but at GM, it's already influencing how we make vehicles through the way we test, certify, and move forward with speed and excellence. Oh, that's a great quote. So, my last question, prefaced, there's a lot of fads, okay? 2 years ago at this conference, there were a number of vendors out in the trade booth that were showing Google glasses or glasses like that. You don't see them. Dealers I've heard from, when they finally go to need to use it, they can't find them. And it seems like that was a fad that Maybe it's some people are still, but it's kind of died down. So here's my last question. You get either a one-word answer or a two-word answer, and that's it. Is AI a fad or a foregone conclusion?
It's a foregone conclusion. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry.
Foregone conclusion.
Yeah, absolutely, foregone conclusion.
Okay. All right. Now, before we give our panel a round of applause, the facilitator next door is Dan Dobbs. So he kind of followed me at Ford, and he says, I'm better looking, but he's funnier. Okay? So they had a round of applause. Ours needs to be louder. Okay? Can you help me out? Let's give this panel a round.